Aria for three.
And we are back, this 37th annual Whakatane January Touch Tournament, and we're just in a bit of a change up, I guess, from our normal run of play. The next game up, 35s, BAA BAAZ versus an Invitational, and then beside me in the saddle is the man himself, Peter McIntyre, who's been here for most of these 37 years, I guess. Macca?
Yeah, it's been a privilege being a part of Whakatane for so long. I won't say I've been here 37 years, I'm not that old, but yeah, I have been here for a few with a few different clubs. I actually started here with a club called Ōhope, run by John and Mitzi Fido back in the day. We stayed at the marae right at the front there, and then I ended up playing for my family affiliation on Taro, which has a huge allegiance to the Whakatane Touch Tournament and obviously the Bay of Plenty. A privilege to be a part of this, Rod, and a privilege to call this game as well.
Now it'll be awesome, and just with this, the BAA BAAZ, this is their 30th year anniversary. They've been a big part of the Whakatane tournament for a long time, and they're back to celebrate that. So they'll be the squad running in blue.
And as you see them walking on the field, obviously their opponents, invitational side run by the man himself, the Centurion Peter Walters, been there and done that as you would think and say, and it should be quite a interesting setup in terms of the technical prowess of the great Peter Walters, and he's got a couple of elite athletes around him, and then going against the BAA BAAZ who have athletes across the board.
Yeah, and I guess another thing special for this match, our referees today, and Kitty Martin, Huya Meredith, and Greg Scott, all local referees. And for a special moment, they've decided to bring out the local referees to ref for that. And correct me if I'm wrong, it looks like the invitational side, Peter Walters, has just hooked in Dylan Hennessy, so we may see Dylan Hennessy with a shirt on shortly to play this. But the Barbarians, traditionally a team made up of ex-New Zealand League players, rugby players, and coaches, and they've who've served their sport well over the years. And those guys, they're still together. They socialise together, and every year they have events together. So looking forward to these guys. I do apologise in terms of the team sheets. They had also had a Masters tournament on yesterday. So today very much about those that still had legs running. So it'll be interesting to see how things develop.
And just looking at the sides. As much as Dylan Hennessy has come across to run in the invitational side, he is of age. The age is, I'm thinking, 35-ish.
Yeah, 35.
Yeah, so he is 35, very elite in his own right, but we'll see how we go here. As we can see, the game will set up around Pete being a primary attacker, and he'll bring his prowess in terms of what he brings to the game. They chuck in a sweep and then they reverse that pass and play numbers. Oh, beautiful.
Yep, and as we would expect, the invitational squad, made up of touch-bred athletes, so they know and understand the structures, and I guess not so much with the BAA BAAZ in terms of the physical game, overball game that they play. So it'll be interesting to see the contrast in styles.
And we got Peter Viss on a sweep, played New Zealand himself, hand set up by Peter Walters, and then a reverse pass, and then playing the numbers. And we should see a lot of that today.
Just looking across the park there, Pete, and in the sub box for the BAA BAAZ. It looks like they've got 24 aside over there. They've got plenty of subs. Should the legs start to fail a bit.
In the middle at the moment, we have Xavier for the BAA BAAZ and Jason Tormai, or Chucky, come out of Central Auckland, and one of Central Auckland's best. Very, very handy. Very good on his feet. Very good agility. Played New Zealand Open men's as well.
Yeah, there's a little bit of contrast in the boxes too, Pete. It's not as not as vocal as normally you would with the Opens games.
And just as we see that, we see Gary Riley come on the field, who's was in the New Zealand Open men's, throw a long ball and it go to ground. Peter Walters is picking some prime out of the Whakatane tournament to stack his team. But I think in context of what we're looking at here, the BAA BAAZ is set up about athletes coming together, the brotherhood of that, and them enjoying themselves and being active, enjoying themselves. If you look at Johnny Malaki there, he's been a part of the BAA BAAZ for so long. And in the middle there, we've got Piriwipu, obviously a legend in his own right, and very good. And then we've got Wax, who's in the link area. Not the stature of our normal link, but anyway, all our normal touch athlete. But, you know, the great thing about it is they're out there, and they're out there playing the game and doing activity that they love. As they come through the field, it'll be interesting. Like if I was the BAA BAAZ, as much as, you know, they have 20 subs, I'd sort of try and run the invitational team off their feet, as it would as you would say.
Yeah.
But it's one thing saying it, another thing doing it. And they look like they're going to use the ball rather than turn it into a physical confrontation.
Piriwipu on the touch there, just trying to get in the ruck, slow things down a little bit. It worked for him. No penalty forthcoming.
And as Dylan sets up and he takes the drop, usually he'd be the one throwing that right to left, renowned right to left, and he probably would have hit it. And then we have one of our favourite sons from the Hawke's Bay on the wing there, one of the Bartlett boys. You know, great to see him back playing the game that he started at.
For the BAA BAAZ, Wairangi Kopu, just moving the ball up through the field. This is a bit more structure by the BAA BAAZ here. Keeping it simple, getting themselves downtown.
Wairangi moving to the middle. Well, that's 6 touches. I think they just lost a bit of comms there, and you know, like they needed to have a strike on that 5th and final. I think with what they have, they still got the ability, you know, to put a bit of pace on there.
Oh, absolutely. And Xavier was set up to go. Xavier Horan set up to go then. So that would have been interesting if they had that count right.
Gary Riley sweeps on the field. We'll see what setup they have. Peter Viss to Gary Riley. Gary Riley goes long again, and Peter Walters is on the wing. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, holy crickets. And then I think Gary Riley, you know, he needs to do some yards. He needs to do some of the hard work. They're throwing a lot of these long balls, and they don't seem to be hitting marks.
Yeah, you got to earn it to burn it. Do the hard work first.
So at the moment, there's not much in it. A try in it, I think. So it's anyone's competition at the moment. What a beautiful day we've got here, Rod. You know, 37 years of Whakatane. Have you got any highlights throughout that you could really knuckle it down to?
Not really. I guess for me, usually I'm in the background in terms of organising, and so for me it's really, you know, the thanks and the crew that sit behind that actually enable this tournament to happen. And, you know, and over the years, George Rogers has been a big part of running this tournament. I mean, we've got a bit of a thank you for him today, but yeah, for me it's all about the tournament. For me is all about reconnecting family, reconnecting whānau, the community, you know, all the players that, you know, that come back from offshore to play here, as we see the Invitational throwing the long, but the Barbarians up to it.
Yeah, they're going to a 3-2 Geordie play, and for some reason, and Gary Riley hits the mark. Just as I say that, he just wanted to pull the back flick out. They're going to a 3-2 in play, which then gives them an overload on the open side, and they've done it twice. Johnny Malaki on the far side, he snuffed that one out, but they got it on the other side. For some reason, Gary Riley's got the back flick going today. Might be something for the future we're looking at. Just with George Rogers, I just want to say a huge thanks from myself. You know, he's supported me and all the Whakatanes that I've been to, and also the clubs that he has supported. I think people can get lost in the Whakatane tournament and lose some of the founding people behind it, and he certainly was a stalwart of Whakatane and the Whakatane tournament. He'd be in here first and out last, a lot like yourself now.
Yeah, and the one thing, you know, with the tournament is it is, especially organisational wise, it's always been kind of family values based. So if one person's in there, then more than likely you'll get dragged in to help out. And this is how I've been here for, you know, so many years, just helping out in the background, being pushed forward a little bit more now, as we just see the BAA BAAZ just shifting the ball sideways.
They were going to a 3-2 Geordie play themselves, being an ex-Auckland men's player, and at the moment I think he's in the playing up 35 men's, and a lot of these players have been, the invitational side have been picked out of teams, but I think Xavier's been a big part of the BAA BAAZ for the initial of their setup. And that's a half, Rod. Oh, that was good.
Half. They got through it quickly, but looking at the legs, it's probably long enough for some of the legs.
Oh, it's still pretty tight. I think it's 2-0 at this stage. It's anyone's game at this stage. So if I was the coach over there, I'd say everyone have a drink, and everyone have a drink.
So take a breath, because we start again shortly. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
The BAA BAAZ, if you look over at their box, they do like they've probably got a bigger bus this year, I'm thinking, because there's a few of them over there. Being their 30th anniversary, I think yesterday was quite special for them. So what a great carry on from yesterday from the BAA BAAZ tournament to come to Whakatane, and they used to obviously initially start here, and then they've followed up with that BAA BAAZ tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're always thankful for everything that they've given us. Just in the background there, we can see Piri Whip, he's just crawled over and he's listening to the halftime talk of the opposition. So he'll go back armed with plenty of information on what they should do. But back to, I guess, for me in terms of the tournament, Pete, it's always interesting to you talk to or you remember some of those legacy teams from bygones past, the Reds, Dusties.
Oh, there's been a few.
Tato,
yeah.
Falcons,
nice.
a lot of those ones from along, even X Factor in terms of the women's out of
yes.
Waikato, and some of those teams from time has gone past, and the touch that was actually paid here, even back then, it was just as intense, if not more, to be honest. I do remember one game I saw here one year. I think the Falcons were playing.
Yes, beautiful.
They were coming through the field, and it was just dust. They came through so fast. Everyone was hitting it so hard. So, those are the times that I remember.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, Falcons was a club out of Tokoroa, and they played in the Bay of Plenty module system, and they were very, very good. And they had a few New Zealand players that reaped the rewards of that, and the Nippy Boys, Gaz, and they were sort of a challenge to the Tato greater days. The Brothers was one. Clubs that I remember that were graceful in what they'd done with the game. The Freezing Hot, when they played their open style of touch, where they played a 32 long game and they'd explode off the back end of that. You find that in the provincial thing, if you've got a strong club in your province which will play at Whakatane, that will carry on to the province of Bay of Plenty. For instance, Falcons and Tato were a part of the Bay of Plenty. Brothers were a part of North Harbour, very strong. Galaxy, a part of the Galaxy legacy, part of the Auckland men's legacy. you know, and then we get clubs come up from obviously Christchurch every now and then, trying to get into the forum of the Whakatane and what that brings. But skill set that they have on show here, you know, like the young man coming down the wing just come off a World Cup where he's become a world champion. So that's interesting that he's in a celebrity side and scores at the other end. But yeah, I think our game is a game that you can express yourself, and it doesn't really matter your age or your size or your gender, that you can go out and express yourself. And I think that's one of we talk about whānau and family, and I think that's one of the blessed things about our game.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see it, you know, time and time again. You know, during the week you head to the park, and it's always been a great thing to see families out of every age, and you know, you'll see grandfathers playing or grandmothers playing with their mokos, with their grandkids, and it's always a wonderful sight that that our sport, you know, brings to the community.
Just in terms of legacies, in terms of Whakatane, like we talked about a couple of the older ones. The ones that I'm thinking of now are the ones that are current, like the Bullets legacy, and I talk about club in terms of women's and men's. I think they have been one of the powers, and in the last decade, Bullets has been one of the powerhouses of our game. You know, and I call it a Bullet style. It's a style that they played that comes out of, obviously, Counties Manukau. Amazing, the athletes that have come out of that club and the legacy that they've set up. You have the playing up that were in the men's and now shifted to the women's and now in a rebuild stage. You know, you've got now the young guns of Pearl Jam coming through that are very, very exciting. So we're at a good time in our game, I feel, Rod.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's good to see the rise of a lot of strong female players now, Pete, and obviously you know a big part about that and the role that you play. So in terms of the country and where we are now, a lot of young good females starting to come through and the strength starting to rise.
Yeah, and just with that, Rod, you know, like it's something that I promote the female game due to the fact that I have a granddaughter and I have a little granddaughter, and obviously my daughter's played. But if I could say anything to provinces and clubs out there, is promote our female game and make sure that we give them the opportunity like the men. You know, the barriers that they have, and it's all been said before, of babies and holding down the house. I think we just need to park that or support it to ensure that our wahine toa get the opportunity to play, and our younger ones. So if we get them young, we can bring them through and not only turn them into good athletes, but you know, good mums, good people, and that's part and parcel of what we try and achieve. Well, I think maybe the heat of the day is getting to our BAA BAAZ team. You know, they've got plenty of players on the sideline. It doesn't seem to be flowing onto the field as much.
No, two men down in the box there.
Okay.
Yesterday's rigours are starting to show.
Yeah. After 30 years of celebrating, I could understand why. I wouldn't be any good myself. But anyway, the good thing is they're here and they're showing their wares. As Ngāpaki comes in, goes into a 2-1 ruck. Not bad. Again, Ngāpaku comes out of the Brothers Club and been a part of the New Zealand setup as a younger athlete. Johnny Malaki, he comes out of the New Airs with Chucky or Jason. Very staunch and strong player for New Air, and obviously Chucky with the New Zealand Open Men's in his day, very, very elite. As we come through the field, has Piri changed sides? Piri Wipu has changed sides. There's the first. I'm a big fan of Piri's fishing show, so I wouldn't mind going over and get a photo with him. Or maybe a kai. Yeah.
So when he snuck over to have a listen to the team talk, he actually snuck over and grabbed the T-shirt.
Someone must have upset him in the other team and told him he needed to do something. And so he said, I'm going to play with my mates. But it shows what our game's like, you know. So he saw that they were short and then went and helped them out. So what a you know, like I watch a lot what he does and what he does with our whānau, and it's so awesome to see.
Yep, always giving his piru. It's wonderful to see.
Yeah. And, you know, coming from such an elite environment as the All Blacks, you know, it's really good to see that they're just human like the rest of us at the end of the day. They just probably, at that time in their lives, put in a lot more than everyone else and deserved it rightly.
Yep, as you see, I think it was Pita Alatini just subbing off there.
Doesn't he look in good nick though, Rod? I mean, if anyone's seen Wairangi take off his shirt, Jingo's he's model material at its best. You know, he's quite a good-looking chap. Not that but he's got a great physique. And I don't know how old he is, but he's in good nick.
Yep, and that draws to the end of our exhibition match. Invitational squad getting away 4-0 at the end of the day, but not that it really matters to either side. You know, both teams just happy to be a part of it, and we are happy to have them here. It's always wonderful to have these guys here, and it's really great to see them still bonded, still together, and still caring about one another after all these years. So it's a wonderful sight to see.
And if I had a little bit of a push about our wahine, if I can just say something to our ageing males out there, if it's a testament to anything, it's a testament to making sure that you look after yourself. And that doesn't mean being wairangi kopu at anything, but just making sure you're healthy enough to run around with your kids and look after your mokos, and being in the right frame of mind. So if I can say anything to all our ageing tāne out there, is just look after yourself so that you get the opportunity to look after your kids and look after your mokos. And it's something special when you have the opportunity to do that. As we know, Rod, I think that's, I don't want to say it's a Māori thing, but a New Zealand thing that we strive on looking after our whānau and looking after our kids, and as a male we strive to lead that and do our best doing that. So it's a beautiful testament in terms of that, Rod.
Absolutely. So it's been an end to that match, but it's still it's a wonderful day as we move forward to the 1 o'clock open men's game, full circle pool jam. That'll certainly be interesting. Full circle last year's champions, so they've had a couple of games under their belt. We'll see what they're like coming up. So we will see you on the return at 1 p.m. Catch you then.
Kia ora whānau.
Okay. We just get up to